All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me for the Coyote Radio Show and podcast. We just got back from a crazy week in Austin, Texas during South by Southwest. Had so much fun. There's music everywhere. We were invited down by Jason Hendrix, which I now consider a great friend. What a host. What a guy. Been on this great show at the Colton House under Meanwhile in Music. So if you don't already follow that, I got links in the description. Follow their pages, all the social media things. But we did four days of music basically during the days, and just absolutely packed it with talent, all different types too. It wasn't just like one style or genre. It was a wonderful blend of music. So yeah, I pretty much was there for the week, but in a few days I crammed in about 14 or 15 interviews, kind of down and dirty style. We didn't have a lot of time with artists because people are just coming and going crazy in all directions. But yeah, it was great to sit down and talk with several artists and kind of get where they're from, what projects they're working on, and kind of what their future plans were. So we kind of, grabbed the gist of it and went with it. So I hope you like these. We're going to roll them out. We're going to send a bunch of them out as fast as possible because we want this information to be current and up to date. But once again, hats off to Jason Hendrix, Meanwhile in Music. Thank you for inviting the podcast down. Hopefully we can do it again next year. And we love you, man. So, all right, let's go talk to some artists. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Coyote Radio Show and podcast. We're here at the Colton House. As you can hear in the room, it's buzzing right now. Like a lot of music. We're here in Austin, Texas, and during South by Southwest week. And Jared Deck's with us. Thank you for being on.
Hey,
man.
thank you for having me.
Yeah. Just got off the stage here at the Colton House, and you rocked it.
Thank you.
It was great. It was fun.
Thanks.
Energy, vocal performance is up there. It's good.
Thanks. I always get the whole like, I didn't expect that voice to come out of your body. I don't really know how to explain it, but I appreciate the compliment, I guess.
Yeah. It's a gift of some sort from somewhere.
Yeah. But, thank you, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if you would, just kind of share your story, where you're from, how you got into music. I'm new to your music.
Sure.
I'm a fan now, so.
Thanks. So I grew up in rural western Oklahoma in a town of about 1,100 people.
Okay.
And kind of middle of nowhere. I was a music kid. My mom was a musician. I grew up on like a family farm, and my family owns a little grocery store. It's like a tiny little grocery store in my hometown. And, my mom, though, a fantastic musician, played the clarinet, piano, sings, really wonderfully. And I started playing, took piano lessons when I started about 6 years old, and it just made sense to me. It was sort of the first time anything. I still remember my first piano lesson. Like, I remember the whole thing. Like, it all just made sense. And, ever since then, I've been a musician. Now, you grow up in a community like that, and sometimes they value certain things that maybe you aren't good at, and sometimes they don't value what you are good at. And, it's just kind of the way it goes. And, you're trying to make your way, become the human that you want to be, that you believe yourself to be, the type of human you believe you can be. And, overcoming sort of the social milieu of where you're from, right? I always say everyone has a love-hate relationship with their hometown, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
And, and I'm no different. It's like, I love it, but also there's certain things I hated.
Yeah.
And, growing up, becoming a songwriter, having the opportunity to sort of take my trauma, if you will, and write it down on a page. Sort of bleed on the page. That's always the image I have in my mind, right? You take your pain and you just bleed it out through a pen. Yeah. And then I picked up a guitar eventually and started writing songs, and here we are.
Yeah.
So
that's just history in a nutshell.
I guess. You know, there's a lot to my story, I suppose. Sometimes it feels, you know, like I've gone through a lot more than I can really explain in a conversation. But, you know, I really kind of I improved a lot as a writer in my 30s, but in my 20s I worked at a factory outside of, like, real close to my hometown. And, I've been out there a few years, and then they brought us in for a plant-wide meeting and informed us they would be outsourcing all of our jobs to overseas facilities. And, you know, this kind of one of those moments where, like, these things that we see on TV, or you hear politicians talk about, like, systemic issues. Well, when it hits you directly, it's not systemic, it's personal.
Yeah.
And that phrase, you know, it's not personal, it's business. I hate that phrase.
Yeah.
Because when it's your business, it's deeply personal. And so that actually, I mean, it got me involved in my community. After that, it got me also improved my writing, because I understood better sort of this American story that is not just a dream come true, right? Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of times the American story is one of tragedy, not just one of, you know, we talk about overcoming tragedy a lot in in American life, but we often forget to mention that it started with a tragedy. And so a lot of my songs kind of start with that. And, you know, I'm just trying to tell the stories of the places and the people that I've known, places I'm from and the people I've known.
Right. So would you say that, like, your music might have probably just started out as almost just therapeutic, and then it just kind of... I think of music that way.
Yeah.
Like, I think of a lot of the art. I went to an art school, and even just creating art in general, it was just therapy for me.
Yeah, for a long time, I focused more on the music than on the lyrics, because I didn't really want to tell my full story. I didn't want to be that transparent. I was afraid of it. You know, I was afraid to tell people who I really was, because I wasn't sure that I would be accepted in the place where I came from.
Right.
And so I really focused on the music part. And, you know, I excelled at that. I wrote a lot of really interesting music, and I still love that music. But my songs weren't very relatable back then, because I sort of masked the meaning behind them with just verbosity, right? Just sort of trying to make everything so much allegory that it, you know, hid how I really felt. And then when I started removing that mask, right, and really just saying what I feel, saying what really happened, that I have found not only has been more therapeutic, but also I have more fans now because people can relate to the music.
Yeah, it reminds me of, like, we'll take the radio, for instance. Like, to get, like, a huge top hit,
Right.
everyone pretty much has to relate to that song in some shape or form. And there's all different types of people out there, obviously. So if you're able to relate to everyone, most likely it's going to be pretty much watered down lyrics of just, like, very basic things. We're like, oh, okay, I've been there, I've done that.
Right.
So there's not a lot in the message. If you get a little bit of kickback or friction to what your message is, I think you're better off.
Yeah.
And your diehards are going to be sticking with you, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I've gotten a little bit of that over the years, you know, where somebody, they don't like something about me, but it's like they liked me until they got to know me, and I'm like, well, hey, you know, maybe touche, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it runs both ways. I don't know, because I don't really know you very well. But, you know, that's the interesting relationship between being on stage with the people who are, you know, watching you, listening to you. There's this relationship, and to me it's about like any other relationship. Like, you know, we could be really close friends, but there's still maybe that one thing about you that kind of bugs me. But still, if I'm a good friend to you, I'll look past that.
Yeah.
Unless it's hurtful to me directly. But, you know, I don't really feel like anything I'm writing is, you know, directly hurtful to anyone.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, there's definitely an issue there. You know, I became a musician because I wanted to be a part of something and create something that was so much bigger than just myself, right? Like, I think that's the reason. It's like you play in a band, right? It's because, when I grew up playing piano, I started out with one note at a time, right? And then when I learned I could play 2 or 4 or 5 or 6 notes at a time, it was suddenly, it made even more sense to me. It made me feel more fulfilled because I was creating something that was bigger than just one note. And when you're in a band or if you're in an orchestra, right, you're playing, you're harmonizing with other people, and you are creating something that's bigger than just one person can make. And I think that's true in music. I think that's true in doing work for your community. It's all about trying to be a part of something that's bigger than just me.
Yeah, I love that. I love how serious you take this too. It's always brushed over, and I know a lot of artists really care about their craft and stuff, but to go even further and realize what the meaning could be and how it's projected and all that. It's important stuff. The power of music is just insane. So I appreciate that. But I can already tell you were in there. You're in it to win it.
Thanks.
So are you working on any new music EPs or anything crazy like that?
So I have a new full-length album coming out May 10th, 2024.
Okay.
And really excited about that. We've released a couple of songs already. So there's a couple of them already out there streaming, and one of our songs is getting some good play on Texas radio, and very appreciative of that. But the full record, it's 10 songs. It really runs the gamut genre-wise. I don't really like to write just one sound. I like to kind of let whatever the song is, I just write what I write. And whatever the sound should be, that's what we do. So that's coming out in May of 2024. And then right now we're working on new material for another record that I'm hoping I can get out, in 2025 sometime.
Yeah.
But I want to just continue to put out more and more content. I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
And there's Oklahoma's an interesting place. We have there's so many tragic stories that have been buried into the blood red soil that is our state. And those stories deserve to be told, they deserve to be heard. And I'm one of many songwriters out there trying to carry on this tradition. It started with Woody Guthrie.
Oh,
and
Woody.
Yeah, started with Woody Guthrie, and then you kind of transformed by people like Leon Russell. And then, really perfected by Jimmy LaFave. I'm a big Jimmy LaFave fan. But also, Roger Miller is another one. And Jimmy Webb, most folks don't know Jimmy Webb's from Oklahoma. And then, kind of that legacy carried on by folks like The Great Divide, Mike McClure, Red Dirt Rangers, and John Fulbright.
Yeah.
And so many others. So Carter Sampson's another one's amazing. Anyway, just trying to tell that Oklahoma story.
Yeah. I met John Fulbright once. Great guy. That was 10 years ago probably.
Yeah.
But love his stuff too.
Yeah, John's a friend, and someone that sometimes you have people you feel like you will connect with even before you meet them. And then when you meet them, you're like, oh yeah, I was right. It's a good feeling. For me, it's all about trying to surround myself with good humans.
Right.
The only way I'm going to be a better human is if I'm consistently reminded of what humanity is all about. And that's what I'm trying to do, and follow in the footsteps of some pretty major giants in Oklahoma music.
Yeah. How many, the May 10th release, how many tracks are on that?
There's 10.
10? Okay.
Yep. So 9 originals. We are doing 1 cover song.
Okay.
And that'll be on the record. And excited about it.
Can you say what the cover is?
So it's Two of a Kind, the old Garth Brooks song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do I had a show one time, and somebody was yelling out, "Play some Garth," and they yelled it out enough, and I was like, you know what? Screw them. I'm gonna actually play some guitar.
And everyone was like,
And then
that was awesome.
Yeah, and I played it. I was like, I don't really know the song, so I just looked it up on my phone. I played it way too slow, way too swampy and bluesy, and at the end I was like, hey, I kind of worked. So I just kept playing it.
Kept it.
Yeah.
You kept it that way too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's sort of, I don't know. I say if Tom Waits covered a Garth Brooks song.
Okay.
That
paints a picture.
That may be giving myself too much credit, but
No, I like that. So, what's the plans for touring behind all this?
Absolutely. So we're down here at South by Southwest. We've got New Fest this weekend in Dallas. I'll be playing in Stillwater in April, Norman Music Fest also in April. It's a big festival in my town. Playing my hometown area out at JC Cowboys in April. And then the release shows will happen in Oklahoma City at the Blue Door, which is a legendary spot, and Tulsa. And then we're hitting the road after Memorial Day. Okay. And we should hit probably 9 states pretty quick, within about 3 months after 3 to 4 months after Memorial Day. So we'll go everywhere from South Texas up to Ann Arbor, Michigan, out to Nashville, and everywhere in between.
Man, you're busy.
Trying to stay that way.
That's what you want to be, when you're doing this whole gig. That's great. That's great news. Is there a website that we should share?
Sure.
What's all the social links and all that?
So my name is spelled Jared, Jared, deck, like a deck of cards, jareddeckmusic.com. Okay. All my social medias are at Jared Deck Music. Okay. And, of course, my music's on Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, Apple Music, you name it. Anyway, that's really it, just Jared Deck Music.
Okay. I'll put all the links in the description so people can find them easier, make it easy for everybody. But thank you, man, for being on and sharing your story. Like I said, I'm a fan now. I'll be searching on all the socials now.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. It really takes people who are as dedicated to listening as we are to creating.
Absolutely.
And it's like we're all part of this greater music community. It's not just like when we talk about a music scene. It's not just the musicians that are a part of that. We have to have the people who support us. And anyway, grateful to your podcast and everybody at home is listening.
Yeah, thanks. We'll catch you next time. We got some music to catch, so we got to go.
Yeah.